Oh, greetings. Hey, look. Yeah, I'm just cooking a beat. I'm just going to put some drumsticks in the oven in the meantime, all right? Now that's what I call oven-ready drums. Lloyd Brown plugin of the week. You know, see, I can't start my things without a good cup of tea. In fact, it's not a cup of tea, it's a cup of coffee. Yes, I've blown the budget, ladies and gentlemen, what can I tell you? Greetings one and all, this is Lloyd Brown and welcome social media family to Lloyd Brown Music. Why am I kind of chuckling to myself in my head, you might ask, even though you might not notice that I'm doing that? Well, the reason being is that I actually made this video last night, but when I saw my face on the viewfinder, it was truly a face fit for radio. It did not look good at all. I was making a video like around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning and was making a dog's dinner of it. So I decided to scrap that video and actually start the video again today. So everything is fresh, everything is good, everything is copacetic, man. I want to talk about plugins because you know I love my plugins and you know I love to be musically innovative. And I like being around creators and like-minded people who are innovative and inspirational in my music production as well. Now, I'm not one to jump on the hype train and basically big up all the big plugins that is going around because I don't really need to do that. They just basically make their plugins an event when they drop anyway. So if you're in the music production circles, it can't escape your attention. However, there are some independent companies that I like and I like the products that they're making, and I think they deserve attention as well. So within that, I've formed quite a few relationships with the developers of those products, and they have been healthy and they have been strong, and I'm truly thankful for that. And having said that, I want to thank all of those that have basically furnished me with plugins to review. Obviously, you haven't seen any reviews of late because, hey, I'm celebrating my 40 years in the music business. However, I have featured quite a few of those plugins in my productions and will continue to do so into 2023. So my album schedule is pretty big at the moment. So I wanted to kind of get that down pat before I start going into plugins and things like that for your viewing pleasure. So I want to thank all of those that have provided me with the plugins for that very reason. All right. So with all of that being said, I just wanted to announce that I am now in an affiliate partnership with Goran Grooves. Now you might ask yourself, well, what is Goran Grooves? Well, basically Goran Grooves is a website headed by Goran Rista. Now, who is Goran Rista, you might ask? Well, he is a drummer and he's an entrepreneur and he provides music production services and also drum libraries and MIDI libraries as well. And how his setup appealed to me was the very fact that the libraries that he was selling came at a really reasonable price. And they all come in the form of modules. They come in the form of drum modules, which are aimed at a specific genre. So you have the reggae standard, you have the retro custom, you have the John Bonham style, you have the metal kit, too many to mention at this time. But they all come in their own separate modules, which I absolutely like. And obviously you can basically buy as you go. So if you're a reggae head, you just need to buy the reggae standard. If you're a heavy metal head, you buy the heavy metal kit. But you do have the option to basically buy the kits as you go, and they will provide a discount for the whole set. And you can buy the whole set of 15 drum modules if you want. They come at a very light 9 gigs as well, so they won't take up your hard drive too tough. Enough with the verbal technicalities. Let's go into the studio and see what the plugin basically looks like and how it functions and get some audio demos out of it. Shall we? All right, let's do it. And here we are in the laboratory with an instance of Handy Drums, which is the reggae standard kit, of course. And within the plugin, within the interface, there are 2 tabs, and you'll be pleased to know that whatever drum kit you choose for your studio, for your sessions, they will basically carry the same interface. The only difference will basically be the amount of tabs that are in there based upon the amount of instruments on the drum kit itself. So on Handy Drums Reggae Standard, you have 2 tabs. You have the drums and you basically have the percussion. It's pretty simple and intuitive from the get-go. Obviously you got all the instruments there, basically titled, and you have the fader levels there, and you have the master volume at the end for both tabs. With the speaker icon, have it muted or not. Moving downwards from that, from left to right, you have these icons at the bottom. Now on the left, you have the keyboard icon, which basically shows you the keyboard and the notes used by the samples. All right, so if I click on that, the keyboard should disappear. Click on it again, the keyboard appears. If you so choose and so desire to buy the Reggae Standard kit, once you load this up, it will not be mapped in the same way as how you see it. I manually mapped it to the way I wanted it to be mapped. And here is the reason. Okay, so now we've cut from the screen to my phone. Now there is no hard or fast rule as to how to program your drums, how to map your drums, but this is the way I like to do it because it's ergonomically pleasing to me. Now, I use the first 16 keys on my keyboard for my core drum set, which are as follows. Those are the first 16 notes on my keyboard. Now, some of you might be eagle-eyed in noticing that the first key, which is C1, which is usually the kick, is the rim shot. Now, this is the reason why I place it there instead of C#1, and it relates to the pads, which are over here. As with the keyboard, the pads are basically running in the same order, left to right, bottom to top. The rim shot is here, kick drum's here, hi-hat, close and open, snare, snare, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, tom 4. The reason why I like it like that is because I can move in a circular motion when I'm doing my rolls. Okay, so up here, we have a splash, we have a secondary splash, and on top, we've got the crash family. So we have crash, crash, bell ride, tip ride. And I know you're asking the question, why do I have the rim shot on the bottom left pad instead of the customary kick? Well, the answer is very simple. Because I play the drums and use my left hand as my snare hand, as my rim shot hand, it's more easier for me to play when the pads are basically swapped around. If I had both my hands free, obviously I'll be using that as my kick to drive, and with my left hand I'll be using to kind of alternate between the two. So my right hand will basically be taken up by the hats, and my left hand will be It's kind of hard to show you with one hand what two hands could do with this layout on my pads, but it works for me. All right, so whatever works for you will work for you, but this basically works for me. Anyway, back to the studio. And we're back in the lab, and that basically explains why the keyboard is mapped out in the way it is, and subsequently the pads on my Akai MPD 218 is mapped out in the same way as well. Like I said, ergonomically pleasing to me. As a disclaimer, I did not use the maps that were supplied as standard when you buy a Handy drum kit. What I chose to do was to literally go on the top right hand corner and basically save the preset right here. I just found that a whole lot easier for me, but it might be easier for you just to use the drum map and put it into Cubase. Obviously with other DAWs, I don't really have deep knowledge in the other DAWs, so I don't know what will work and what won't work, what will be easier and what won't be easier for you, depending on the DAW you use. But for Cubase, for me, this is the easier option. Even though Goran himself, he uses Cubase and he uses it in a completely different way by way of drum maps, I use presets. That's the only difference for me. I just find it more easier that way. All right, so that's my disclaimer out the way. Moving on from this icon here, which is the keyboard, we have another icon, which is the key mapping. Pretty straightforward. I mean, everybody knows how to kind of key map drum kits. You have all the instruments basically shown here, and if you want to change the kick from C#1 to C, I literally just click on C1, but I don't need to do that. Move away from that. So that's basically the same procedure, same process for every instrument in the plugin, as it were. All right, so let's come out of that. So moving to the right hand side of the keyboard, we have this section here, which is basically the multi-outs. So if you want to tweak them even further, you can basically assign each instrument to its own stereo channel. But just in case you was wondering if you can basically separate all of the drum parts, you can, and you can tweak them to your heart's content. With Reggae Standard, it's a pretty dry drum kit that for some might suit, and for some, they just want to basically tweak it to their own liking, to their own taste, which is fine. The option is basically there, all right? So that is the channel out section. Here on the gear wheel, which is basically the settings, the option to basically change the sample folder location from where it is to where you want it to be. So if you wanted to load it onto a external solid state drive, you can do that. If you want to basically assign CC to a particular parameter and you don't want it no more, you can clear that as well. And if you want to increase or decrease the size of the interface, you've got the option basically here. This doesn't really matter to me at the minute, so I don't know what to tell you. And here is the MIDI output. At the moment, it's set to all channels. On this section here is basically the variable hats controller, which is applicable for E-drums and also the mod wheel on your computer. So with the variable hats controller, you can literally control the space between the two hi-hats by turning the mod wheel up and down. So in its up position, it will be a tight hi-hat hit, and the more you pull it down, it will open up the hi-hats even more and give it a more natural humanized feel. I don't know how it works with the E-drum, but with the mod wheel, you have that option if you're not a drummer and you just want to get that real humanized hi-hat swing, you know what I mean? Hi-hat bubble, as it were. That is pretty much the settings there. Okay, so we come out of that. In the about section is simply about the plugin and where it was made, blah, 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 blah. All right, so come out of that. Now, if I take off the keyboard, you have the website, library.gorangrooves.com. And once you click onto that, that will take you to the library.gorangrooves.com website, where they will show you the examples of all of the kits in action. So you can listen and choose to your heart's content as to which drum kit you want in your sessions. If you're interested in buying any of the drum kits involved, please click on my affiliate link below. You won't be paying anything extra. And for every product you buy, I get a little kickback, a little commission from the company, which will aid me in basically keeping my creative juices flowing. And for that, I will thank you in advance. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Handy Drums suite of drum kits. I absolutely love them. They're very good sounding straight out of the box, and they're value for money. I don't think you can really find any drum kits that are basically oven ready, radio friendly, out of the box for that price anywhere. And they do offer a guarantee on those products as well, and also the music production services that they offer as well. So I want to take the opportunity in thanking everyone for tuning in. Hope you're having a blessed day, and until I catch you on the next exciting installment of Lloyd Brown Music, people, stay blessed. I'm out of here. Maganski. Laters. Lloyd Brown plugging up the week.